Hello everybody and welcome back to the multiplayer project, where today is going to be a little bit of a different day, and I think we're going to do this about once a week. On Sundays it's just going to be a little bit more relaxed and informal because I'm not actually doing any pre-work on this, so I don't, technically speaking, have a plan here, but instead we are simply going to work through some of these to-dos and known issues and see what we can get done. So the first thing is make modal window set itself to be the bottom child on start. That's super easy to do. So let's hop into here and check to see. Yeah, the modal window does not currently have a script on it. So let's hop into the UI lobby here and we'll create a new C# script and we'll call this modal window. And this will, as I said, all be live development, so a little bit of a word of warning there. This might not go quite as smooth as it has previously. In this class here, all we're going to do is public void on enable. And then all we're going to do here is transform dot set as last sibling. Well, that was easy. So now, if we were to test this out, you can see here that the modal window is above the game UI. And if we make sure to attach the modal window script here, and we run this, yes, it's going to say there's no server, but also it puts the modal window at the bottom. Piece of cake. Okay, so let's scratch that off the to-do list. There we go. Make the character select scroll view, only scroll with the wheel and scroll bar, no click and drag. That's not super easy to do from right now. Switch RSA libraries, that's a bit in-depth. Support for deleting accounts. I mean, we don't have to have a button for that in the client, but we can actually support that in our database manager easily enough. And then we can just have it call for whenever. We can basically just copy our delete character method here. So public static void delete account, and then we'll take in a string account name, but we'll also make a second one here, public static void delete account, where we take in an int account ID. Okay, and then we're just basically going to copy and paste this. Like so. And then we're going to have to do delete from accounts, where account name equals at account name. And then we'll do add with value account name, and we will do account name. Wonderful. And then for delete account with the ID, we're going to do the same thing, delete from accounts, where instead of character name, it will be account ID. And is that with both ID, I and D capitalized? Let's double check this. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. And then this will be the account ID. And then this parameter, account ID. Actually, we'll do all lowercase. I don't think it matters, but this is just the way we've been doing it. Account ID. Excellent. So now we have support for deleting accounts. Well, that was easy. We'll hop over to our to-do and scratch that one off of there. Wonderful. Color selector UI for character creation. That's a wee bit more complex. Okay. We can do that, to be sure. Supporting that should be relatively simple as well, but that might be something to end this on. Check for character slot limit on character creation. We don't really have a hard and fast character slot limit right now. I think we'll avoid that for right now. Check for forbidden character names. That would be super easy, but creating the list of forbidden character names, on the other hand, that would be a little more complicated. Fully parameterize all DB inputs. Now that is something we absolutely should do right now. So let's go through all of our DB inputs here. And anytime we see a string.format like this one, we want to set it up more like this. So select anything from, this is going to be getting data from a particular location. I don't actually know how to do that on the table here. So let me actually look that up real quick. Let's see here. Select. Actually, this should be system.data.sqlite. Select parameterized table. How do we do that? Parameters must be complete values. Yeah, that's fine. But I want to select from a particular table. Well, we can just do something like this for now. cmd.commandText equals select asterisk from, and then this would be on table. Yeah, I don't know how to parameterize this particular bit. Can you even do that? Parameterized queries with multiple values. I'm seeing some square brackets here, and I'm not sure what exactly that ends up doing. Yeah, these are all hard-coded tables here. Parameterized SQL statement. Yes. In C#. Yeah, that's... Once again, that's a hard-coded account table, or rather, a hard-coded table here. Fascinating. Well, for right now, we'll just do on table. I have no idea what this ends up doing, but we'll select asterisk from on table. This is probably not going to work. We'll just do that for now, where, and then this would be at name. Actually, yeah, where I think we can do it like this. Select asterisk from at on table, where at where field equals at equals value. I don't know if this is going to break or not. Maybe. Maybe that does. But then we would do cmd dot cmd.parameters.add is how we do it. .parameters.add, and then we would want this to be, we would pass in at on table, and then this would be on table, like that. I think this will work. And cmd.parameters.add at, this would then be where field, and then where field. Oh, we want to do add with value. That'll work, I hope. Add with value, there we go. And then cmd.parameters.add with value. And then this would be at equals value. And then this would be equals value. So I really hope that this actually works here for the table. That would be nice. And then this would just pass in like this. Excellent. And then we do a similar thing for check if exists, although I really want to verify that this works. So let's hop into the server here, and when we are starting at the very beginning here, I want to do, after we initdb, system.diagnostics.debug.writeline, and then this would be something along the lines of database manager dot get data, and then we'd want to get data from on-table accounts. We're going to get the field, let's go with account name, where field account ID equals value. Do we have a 1 or is it 0 indexed? I think it's 1 indexed. We can double check that by going into here, going into our File Explorer, which opens on my other monitor very helpfully, firing up the DB browser, and then popping this in here. We'll check our accounts table, and yeah, it starts at 1. Perfect. So if we run this, this should output ASDF, all lowercase, in theory. If it doesn't have an error. It had an error. Syntax, yep, syntax error with on table. Yup. I'm not hugely surprised by that because I did not see anything there. And actually, we'd get rid of that. So how do we parameterize the table? So SQLite parameterized table. Can I use parameters for the table name in SQLite 3? Yeah, that's the question here. Not allowing table name as parameter, Just append the table name. Yeah, that's a little bit... One cannot use SQL parameters for database identifiers, tables, columns, views, schemas, etc., or database functions, but instead only for binding literal values. With server-side support for parameterized statement, the DB engine parses your query once, remembering out the peculiars of any parameters, their types, max lengths, precisions, etc., that you'll bind in subsequent executions of the already parsed query. But the query cannot be properly parsed into its syntactic elements if critical bits, like database objects, are unknown. So one generally has to substitute table names oneself in a stored procedure or in client code, which dynamically concats interpolates whatever's the SQL statement to be properly executed. In any case, please remember to use your SQL API's functions for quoting database identifiers, since the API won't do it for you. Okay, so we can't do that. So this would be, we would just concat this in then. I hate to concatenate this, but on table, like that. I hate to do that. That said, we're never going to be passing this table in manually without knowing what it is, right? So we're only going to be looking on the tables via calls like getSession here. Or rather, not really getSession, but rather calls like in the database manager, these things here, like where we create account, create character. But that said, most of the time, this is going to be fine. We'll just have to keep in mind that this is not parameterized and can't be parameterized. So if we run this, this should now work. No current row. Oh, because we didn't finish this. Did we? Hang on. Select asterisk from 0 where 1... Where are we using get field? Where are we using that? Oh, we're using it here. Right. So we don't care about on table here. And I'm just checking our other parameters here. Where account ID equals account ID. Yeah. Where field equals value. I guess the only difference is that I had single quotes here, like that, but I don't think that makes a difference. Yeah, no current row. Okay, is there a problem with the call rather than with the SQL code? Let's check. So in the server here, we are checking on table accounts. We're getting the field account name, where field account ID is equal to 1, which should return ASDF. So why isn't that working? This is the fun with live development. No current row. The other question is, why is this not giving us this catch here? No current row, no current row. It output this character. Interesting. It output no current row twice, and then it output the full character. Fascinating. Don't break when that exception is thrown. Yeah, no current row, and then it output the full character. Now, why did it output the full character there? And in this character syntax, no less. Are we outputting this elsewhere? We may be. Let's comment this out and see if it still does that. Yeah, it still does the character read there. In the... yeah, because it does this. We no longer need to do this, although... do we still want to get characters on account? No, I don't think we do. That was just for testing. We can get rid of that. And then this is still causing an issue. We verified that we're passing it reasonable data because we're on table accounts. We're looking where the account name is equal to account ID. Wait. Where field... we want to get the field account name where the account ID equals 1. So we want to return ASDF when account ID is 1, which is when it's ASDF. So why is this causing us a bit of an issue here? But yeah, I kind of like having this be a once a week sort of thing where you can kind of experience with me the issues that I have occasionally. So select asterisk from on table, which in this case is accounts, where at where field equals value. Did I do the parameterizing wrong? I don't believe I did. I'm pretty sure I did not. I guess we can make it same caps. But I don't think that makes a difference. No current row. So. Is it because... we're passing this in as a string? I don't believe so. Because that's what we need. What if we return the account ID where account name equals ASDF? This should return 1. But it did not. It gave us no current row. Fascinating. This should not have been this difficult. This should not have been this difficult at all. I don't believe we need to call command.prepare. We haven't needed to previously. So... this really should be working. But it's not returning any rows. Well, let's try grabbing something from the characters. And let's try grabbing, say... because maybe it's just a problem with accounts for some reason. Let's try grabbing character name, where character ID equals 1. So that should be character name, where character ID equals 1 on table characters. No current row. Fascinating. So... why is this not working? I implemented this exactly the same as we've implemented other parameterized things, except I guess this concatenation. Maybe that's causing the issue. We can do a string.format here and put in on table, and then this would then be 0. Maybe that solves it? No current row. Huh. This should not be difficult. Why is this difficult? I am rather confused right now. Rather confused indeed. So this doesn't work either. And you know, we should probably be doing something like select at get field if we can. CMD, whoa, PMD apparently. CMD dot parameters dot add with value. And this would be at get field. And we'd pass in get field. And then we would simply want to return just that field. We would no longer need to do this. So just like return r.read.toString. Like that. I wonder if that would solve it. It returned false. Well, it shouldn't have returned false. Well, that shouldn't be causing us issues. That really shouldn't be causing us issues. Okay, let's go down to our get characters on account here. And then what do we return here? We return characters And then we add this in with sb.toString. sb is our I, so while r.read. And then we return our I.toString. Okay. But this is returning false, so it's indicating that this is not, in fact, in the database, which it definitely shouldn't be. I'm very confused by that indeed. It definitely shouldn't be returning false. Characters, character name, character ID, 1. So on table, characters, where character name, or we're getting character name, where character ID equals 1. That's very odd to me. Well, we could move on to check if exists. cmd.command_text equals, instead of a string.format here, we're going to need to do... Actually, we're going to need to still do a string.format here because we have an onTable. And this is going to be onTable. There we go. And then where at where field equals at equals value. And then this would be cmd.parameters.addWithValue. And then this would be at where field, and we would do where field. And then cmd.parameters.addWithValue. So then be at equals value, and then equals value. So that should parameterize check if exists. I wonder if we're going to have the same problem here. Well, let's do this again. Check if exists. And this takes in onTable where field equals value. So we know that there is a character with a character ID of 1. We know this for a fact. So let's fire this up and see if it returns true. It returned false twice. Uh-huh. Why is this returning false twice? Are we... This is after we've initted our TP. I'm very confused by this. These are already parameterized, so we're going to minimize anything that is pre-parameterized. This one is parameterized as well. This one is not. And we should be able to parameterize this one pretty easily. So where character name is equal to... And this would be at character name. And then instead of having this be a string.format, this would just be a regular string. And then cmd.parameters.addWithValue. This should be at character name and character name. Okay. And of course the point of this is to protect against SQL injection. So let's see if we get ourselves system.diagnostics.debug.writeLine database manager dot, and this was get character. And we just want to look up ASDF with a capital A, if I recall correctly. Yes, with a capital A. Okay, so that should output the character string. Invalid operation exception, no current row. So why is it freaking out about the parameterization? I don't know. Like, you look at this here, this is almost exactly the same thing here. This one is parameterized and this one isn't. They both work currently, I believe. So we would then make this not be string.format, where account name equals at account name. Get rid of that single quote. cmd.parameters.addWithValue at account name, and this would be account name. So this is almost exactly the same thing here. Like, almost literally the same thing. So we'll get the we'll try getting the account ID here. So system.diagnostics.debug.writeLine database manager.getAccountID, and we want to pass in the string account name, which is ASDF. This should return 1. And it did. So that works for parameterizing. Why does this work, but this doesn't? Well, we have a lowercase a there. I don't think that matters. This is an all lowercase. I guess we'll find out if that matters. We'll see about getting our character here. We know that both of these work. And then delete character is parameterized, delete account is parameterized, delete account here is parameterized. This update data here is not parameterized, although the update timestamp and last IP just call update data. So this one would need to be this. This would still need to be string.formatted. So let's see if this get character call works. So we want to get the character ASDF. It did not. It thinks there's no character named ASDF on the table. Now, why would it think that? What exactly is different about how we implemented this compared to how we implemented this? We've just taken that parameter there. We just do it like that. How is this different? It really isn't. Except that this is on the accounts table and this is on the characters table, but those tables definitely exist. Well, if we wanted to unparameterize this one, then we would do something kind of like this. So set at set field equal to at equal to where at where field equals at equals value. So the only one that we would end up passing in here would be on table. Like that. And then we do cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and we do at set field, This would be set field. Then cmd.parameters.addWithValue. This would be at equal to. And then cmd.parameters.addWithValue at wherefield. And again, I don't think it matters, this capitalization. And this would be wherefield. Then cmd.parameters.addWithValue at equals value equals value. So that should be everything parameterized there. But for some reason, some of these things aren't working, and I don't understand why. Get account ID where account name equals account name. Let's see, this is get account ID for account ASDF. And then this would be on accounts, ASDF. That definitely exists. Select one from accounts where account name equals account name. Okay. So when was the last time we logged in? We last logged in yesterday. Okay. Let's run this and see what this outputs. It output a -1, a no current row, a -1, and a 1, which is weird. But let's see if the update data works. So to do that, we're just going to log in here. We'll wait for the encryption handshake to finish. One of these days. Maybe. Actually, we may never receive it. Now that I think about it. Because of the issues with the server. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Encryption handshake complete. That just took a ludicrously long time. Authentication failed. Invalid account name. So it doesn't know about ASDF. And more specifically, it attempted to check our account name with, I believe... Let's see, how would it have done that? Let's check here. So we receive an authentication message. So that's ATH. We don't care about CMD. We don't care about CEW. We care about ATH right now. So we receive this message. We check if exist. Account name, credentials, 0. So on table accounts, where account name equals our credentials. And that is this here. So this failed for reasons. Select one from on table where field equals value. I mean, I don't really have any words to explain why this isn't working. And yeah, we didn't successfully log in because of that check if exists. This parameterization really should work, unless it has to do with the string.format here. That's the only thing I can think. Let's check over here. String command equals this. We'll store that in a new string, and then we'll set the command text equal to command. That shouldn't change anything. But maybe the string.format plus parameterization was messing it up. No current row, -1, 1. I'm guessing it's not going to work. Like I said, that really shouldn't change anything. So let's wait for the encryption handshake. Hopefully it won't take a million years like the last one. That was awkward. Come on, encryption handshake. You can do it. While we're waiting, we'll just see if we can figure any of this out. The only thing that I can think is that the string.format plus parameterization was causing some weirdness, but if that's the case, then this should work, but I don't expect this to work. That's exactly what I expected. Is an invalid account name from that. Select one from on table where at where field equals value. And we pass in check if exists, accounts, account name, credential 0. But yet, here's the really freaky thing. If we get rid of all of this and put this back, this works. And I don't know why. So we run this, and this outputs no current row -1, 1. Is that the same thing? Actually, that one's commented out, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that is. This should now allow us to log in. Actually, invalid password. Okay, so that did then work for the check if exists, but it then failed the database manager.getData call here for the hashed password. So yeah, for whatever reason, literally the same thing when parameterized isn't working. I mean, I suppose the one thing that is different is the space here and the single quotes, right? But ultimately, I'm not entirely sure that that would change anything. And I would expect it not to. This should not be this complicated to parameterize this, which was why I chose to do it right now. This really shouldn't be happening like this. Invalid account name. Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. Which was no change. Select exists, select one from 0, where at where field equals value, and then on table. Yeah, so we can just get rid of this. There's no reason to do this string initialization. So why is this failing? Is this the question? I think this can't be parameterized, is what I'm coming to. Here, that's parameterized. Here, it's not. Yeah, I think this is what it was talking about with column names. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that this is the problem. So this needs to be then 1. And this would be where field. And then this here, we would then get rid of this parameter. And then this one we would get rid of, and this would be 1. And then this would be where field. So in theory, this one we would also not be able to do, because we would not be able to do set value. or set field rather. So this should be 1 set field equal to where 2 equals at equals value. So where field and set field would not be parameterized. Where field. This should work. Now, we are not parameterized on the table or the fields that we're setting, but those are hard-coded and are not provided by the user. So that should be okay. I don't think that's a problem. We can get rid of this, and this should now work perfectly. So if we fire up the server with all of these things on here, this should now work. If I'm understanding this correctly. Okay, so it returned true first. So, check if exists, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's actually get rid of these debug calls. And let's just run the game here and see if it works. Because at least we've sanitized the inputs that the player can send, right? That's the important thing. The others actually don't matter. So we'll wait for the encryption handshake. There we go. Authentication failed. Invalid account name. Still, that should not be the case. It's because of this. Okay. This actually needs to be select 0 from 1, where 2 equals value. And then this would be, we want this to be get field. Like that. Now I expect this to work. Just double checking that all of the rest of this is fine. Update 0, yeah. This should all be good at this point. Now it should work fine. In theory. Now that I understand what was going wrong. Because we cannot parameterize column names. I read that way back when, and I just did not internalize that. Really? Really? Invalid account name. So, let's check here. When we're doing the ATH, we do a check if exists call. Select exists, select 1 from 0, where 1 equals value. Let's just get rid of those single quotes there. Because we're not using those elsewhere, and I'm guessing the single quotes might be messing it up a little bit. Okay, let's fire up that server again, and see if that was indeed the cause. Gotta love these trial and errors with the database software. I'm not super familiar with SQL, so that's part of the reason why this is taking some extra time, I suppose. But we still want to have these parameterized for sure. So this will be much better for protecting us against potential SQL injections. In theory, if I'm understanding it correctly. Invalid password now. Okay, that's progress. That means that check if exists is now working. And that then means that our next check is a get data check. So, our check if exists is now functional. Our get data is not. Because I think we have this extra parameter here. All we need is the equals value. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the extra parameter causing that to fail. Because it was just like, I don't know what that's supposed to be. So let's run that. And now this should work. In theory. I've said that so many times in this episode. But like I said, this is just kind of a once a week thing, and we'll go back to actually making features in the next episode. This is just kind of general maintenance where we'll get to some of these to-dos periodically. Account name. Oh, I typoed it. It was an invalid account name. Okay, still invalid password. Really? So this is a get data call. Select get field from on table where field equals value. I guess these are like this elsewhere. But at this point, this is very, very similar. In terms of syntax. Did I typo this? I don't believe so. I don't think that capitalization does anything, but let's find out. Just waiting for that encryption handshake. One of these days, the encryption handshake will happen. And yeah, I do intend to change us over to a different encryption library, hopefully one that's a wee bit faster. Still invalid password. Did I typo it? ASDF. I did not. Okay. I did not typo that. So there's still an issue with get data. And I'm guessing it has to do with this. Let me pull open the server sandbox here. So Visual Studio. And we're going to pull open the sandbox project here, which will be able to compare the functional method with the non-functional method. So this is under account, or rather this is under data. Okay, so this is the method under its previous form. And I think we just want to revert this back to where it was before. So we'll just copy that using block in and paste that in. I think this is now the problem. Is that I was reading the wrong thing. Okay, we'll move that off of there. And hopefully it works now. I'm like 99% sure that it's going to work now. We'll see if it does. Come on, encryption handshake. You can do it. Hey! Okay. So if this all works, /chat, world, hello. Okay. So that all works. 1, 2, 3. Glorious. And we should arrive there momentarily, and we have arrived. Okay, so that all seems to work again. Oh, that was more in-depth than I was expecting that to be, but that was mostly because of a lack of understanding exactly how that worked. But there we go. I'd like to do at least one more thing. How about the character creator cancel button? That wouldn't be a terrible thing to do. We currently have no real way to cancel this. So, let's fire up the server and I'll show you what I mean. So we'll fire up the server, we'll fire up the client, and we will do ASDF, ASDF. And then we will log in here in a moment. Come on. Really need to handle that encryption handshake. Wasting so much time with that. We'll create a new character. And we'll hit the cancel button. This button is a placeholder. We have no way to go back once we are here. So, let's go into the character creation screen and go to the cancel button. Obviously, this currently goes there. Let's go to the character creation screen, and then we will do on-press cancel character button, which doesn't actually exist. Let's, where is the character creation screen hidden at? We can just go here and edit this script. That's character appearance. I meant to do character creation screen. There we go. And then we'll do a public void on press cancel button. Excellent. So when we cancel, we just want to go back to the previous screen. So we'll just do something along the lines of UI manager dot character creation screen dot game object dot set active false. And we want to do UI manager dot character creation, or rather character select screen dot game object dot set active true. We'll actually do that first. I don't think it matters, but I just want to make sure that this is set active before this is turned off. Okay, do we need to call anything on the character select screen? Let's go to the implementation here. Yeah, this just on enable automatically updates itself. Wonderful. So we should be able to go to the cancel button here now and change this to character creation screen dot on press create character button. Wonderful. Now the server is still active. If we run this again and try to log in again, I wonder what's going to happen. Well, I stopped it, and so we're going to have to wait for the encryption manager to be incredibly slow. There we go. Okay. Yes, I kind of expected this to happen, and that is okay. And it just sits on requesting characters from server because the server crashed. That is something that we will tackle in a future one of these maintenance episodes. But for right now, we'll just have to restart it every time because we are fully expecting that to happen. So we'll just wait for that encryption handshake. There we go. We'll create this new character. You know what? I don't want to create a new character. That's interesting. We'll create a new character. You know what? I don't want to create a new character. Character creation failed. Character name already in use. So, that's interesting. We need to make sure... This is actually a different bug entirely, but we need to go to our character creation screen here, go into here, and when we run this, if namefield.text equals nothing, you need a character name. This should already be blocking that name field being empty. But it apparently does not. Also, the cancel button appears to be hooked up to onPress create character. Yeah, we want it to be onPress cancel. Wonderful. We'll restart our server here. There we go. We'll run this and log back in. And once the handshake is complete, we'll select our unnamed character. We'll delete it. Please enter nothing below to confirm. Okay. That's a big problem, actually. But you know what? I don't want to create a new character. Okay, there we go. So let's actually see what that did in the database here. Characters. This is character ID 5 for some reason, but whatever. And yeah, that's an empty character name there. Fascinating. Okay, let's hop over to our to-dos. This is the server. Let's hop over to our to-dos in the client. Character creator cancel button now works. Wonderful. And what else do we want to do here? That's a good question. A good question indeed. Well, I want to check on the character select screen why, or the character creation screen rather, why exactly this check did not succeed when we created this character, which, by the way, we're going to go ahead and delete. We'll write those changes. I do also want to check on characters. Let's modify this. Where do we actually set that up at, now that I think about it? Because I'd kind of like this character ID to be reset. I forget where we do this. Insert a new record. Yeah, I don't remember. I'll find it at some point, I'm sure. But it's not relevant, really. The question is, why did this not tell us that we need a character name? If the namefield.text is equal to an empty string, then it should. I suppose we could do something like public void on enable namefield.text equals an empty string. That's an option. And we can see if that then works. We'll run that server. Yeah, null reference exception. That's not a surprise. Okay, let's see if we can't get logged in here. Okay, come on. Come on, encryption handshake. You can do it. No, seriously. You can do it, encryption handshake. I have faith. You've done it a bunch of times. Oh, it is complete now. Okay, wonderful. So we'll create a new character. Character name is nothing. And it worked. That shouldn't work. But that definitely totally breaks it. So let's actually handle this slightly differently. Instead of doing it like this, let's get rid of that. And instead of doing it like so, we'll do .text.length is less than 1. We'll see if that works. Oh, you know what? I'm a moron. That's what. This would work fine. We don't return here. So it shows the modal, and then it sends the character creation message and instantly changes it to submitting information. And waits for a response from the server. We need to return here. That's all we needed. So with that... oh boy, I can't believe I didn't notice that until just now. So with that, we need to hop into here. ASDF, await the encryption handshake. And actually, let's just go ahead and delete this character before we log in. There we go. So we'll create a new character, and yeah, let's go ahead and create this. You need a character name. You don't say. Let's cancel that. Okay, that's so much better. And that allows us to scratch another thing off of our to-do list as well. And that is in here. Can characters be made without a name? Yeah, they could. Now they can't. Wonderful. So we managed to scratch off, what, 5 things off of our to-do list? I mean, it's not huge, but it's some level of progress. Well there, I think that's enough live development for right now. Next episode, we're going to be going back to actually doing something useful, which is going to be seeing our motion from game state updates and client input to command interpretation. So both of those are going to be interesting, but they're kind of combined together for a reason, and you'll see what that is soon enough. After that, we're going to need to do latency compensation and interpolation. That is going to become, particularly the interpolation, very important, because we're only receiving 10 updates from the server per second. So that's something that's going to have to happen. But until then, you can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.